Syracuse enters its first full week of having a new police chief. Following the resignation of former police chief Kenton Buckner, Syracuse Mayor Ben Walsh announcing his new appointment to the position on Friday. Chief Chief Cecile has been with the Syracuse Police Department for 37 years. He is a native of Syracuse, living in this city for 28 years. He was the first deputy chief under the former police chief before Friday's appointment. And Chief Chief Cecile is joining us live this morning. Good morning, Chief, and congratulations on this promotion. This is really exciting for you.
Thank you very much, Lisa. I appreciate it.
Well, this morning, people are waking up to more weekend violence in the city of Syracuse. How do you plan to address the issue of violence differently from how it's been handled in the past?
Great question. So we're going to put as much as we can. We're going to put more cops out there. That's been our goal for a while, and we're going to continue to do that. Not just cops in patrol, but we're going to put out special details. We're going to work with our law enforcement partners that we have forever in the GIVE program and things like that. And we're going to just keep pushing. The key to policing has always been to keep the bad guys on their heels, so they're not carrying these guns around. This is an interesting note, is that when we were able to do that, and some things have gotten in our way, but we're getting back to it, where the bad guys don't carry the guns with them. They have to go and find their community gun when they have a beef with someone. It takes them 15, 20 minutes. And in the meantime, the dynamics of that whole situation has changed. Now what we're seeing is when there's a beef, people have the guns with them and they automatically pull them out and start shooting.
Protesters came out this weekend because of that now viral video involving an 8-year-old accused of stealing chips. You call it policing 101, what happened between the officers and that child. There are more kids like this in the city of Syracuse that need help. How do you plan to help these children?
So we're going to keep doing what we're doing. We're going to try to fall back on PAL. Jimmy Oliver's done a great job in recruiting children so that we're playing right alongside them. Some of those kids we were talking about with the viral video, officers have played soccer right alongside them. We're going to continue to do that program because he's done a phenomenal job and it just needs to grow and grow. Beyond that, I know the mayor is beginning to talk with partners, social service partners. This isn't a police matter alone. This is much larger than this, and we need our partners to help us out.
Destiny USA is a place people from all over our area come to in Syracuse. In recent months, it has made headlines for violence. How do you plan to address safety issues there from the police department's point of view?
Sure, and sorry, there was some background, Lisa. Could you just repeat that question?
Sorry about that. I was just talking about the recent violence at Destiny USA, and it's a place where people from all over the area come to in Syracuse. So what are the police planning to do there to address the violence at the mall?
Sure. So as you know, we've been there in force for many, many years. We have a detail that goes beyond their private security, officers that work out there that know every inch of that mall. They know the people that come in. But again, this is one of those situations, and the finger gets always pointed, and I'm not saying you're doing it, but the finger always gets pointed toward us. And rightly so. It's gun violence going on out there and different issues. But the ultimate solution is what occurred a couple years ago when Destiny Mall worked with us to put their own security at the doors and check people coming in and had the curfew, so to speak, where children at a certain age couldn't come in without an adult. When they were doing that, the officers that work out there and the sergeant that runs that, the lieutenant that runs that, said that things were much better. So this, once again, is going to take a collaboration between us and Destiny Mall.
All right, Chief, thank you so much. And again, congratulations. We look forward to working with you as so many people in the community do. Thank you.
Shot, something you didn't see if you were watching the announcement online earlier today of the new Syracuse Police Chief, the handshakes afterwards. Officers in the department shaking hands with Chief Chief Cecile. And the new chief is my guest tonight at 7 o'clock. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How many of those officers do you know by name? Do you have a handle on that?
Listen, I did. You could have asked me that 5 years ago. I would have known. But we put on so many classes right now. I wouldn't say it's a handful. There's a lot of them I know, but there's a lot of youngsters out there that I know their faces and I know their work, but I sometimes don't know their names.
How did this come together? When was it that the mayor, what can you share with us about the behind the scenes of this? When did the mayor approach you about being the next Syracuse police chief?
So it was, I would say, it's hard to remember now, but I think it was several weeks ago while Chief Buckner was in the process. And we knew that we were going to have to make some changes if he got the job. So the mayor brought me over to his office with the deputy mayor, and we spoke about it.
That's how a job interview sort of goes like that? You get called over to City Hall?
Yeah.
And you sit before the mayor at his desk, and he says, I want you to be my guy.
Exactly. It was very informal, but yep, that's exactly how it happened.
It's Friday night, Chief, and there's worry about the safety in Armory Square after what happened last weekend, the young man who was shot to death there. We know that our city made news this whole week all over the country with that viral video of the 8-year-old child. I look at the week gone by, and I'm talking to the new Syracuse Police Chief, and I'm wondering, who wants this job? No, I mean, really, after this week, I thought about that as you were accepting the position today before cameras, and I thought, who in the world would want it?
Yeah. Michael, it's a great question. There's a lot of challenges, and I thought about it. It wasn't as if I just told the mayor, I'll take it. I thought about it a lot. I mean, I was getting close to retirement. I'd put my years in. Some would say more than my years. But when chances like this come along, challenges, where I can take over this department and help these officers, maybe boost the morale, get more cops on the street, help the community, you almost have to take it. I know for one thing, I told my wife, if I don't take it, I will regret it.
So you took it.
Yeah.
Was there anything you told the mayor that you needed? Mayor, you've got to do this in order for me to be successful in this job.
Told him he has to keep hiring, which he's been doing. When we swear this class in July, this will be his 6th class.
Got it.
So that's one thing he has to continue to do, and which he will, I'm sure.
I've got to ask you about the video and the child. I know that it's under internal review. That's what the department has said. What specifically are the bosses looking at as it relates to that video? And when the review is complete, will you tell us what you found?
100%, we'll tell you. We're very transparent with that, and we will tell you. Okay. What we're looking at now, we have some other affidavits we're getting from store owners and people who were in the area, other than the 2 gentlemen that were trying to exacerbate the situation. And we're also checking to see if there's other cameras. We want to make very clear that we didn't miss anything. And what we're seeing right now, Michael, as you saw all the videos, what we're seeing right now, there are very little issues there. There's a few low points with some of the bantering back and forth. Other than that, those cops did a great job. Put the kid in the car, did what any parent would want him to do, took him home.
Kenton Buckner is credited with being the outside eyes at a time when the department needed outside eyes, changing some policies, things like that. He ruffled feathers within the department. We know that. What will your tenure as chief become known for? Can you sort of forecast that?
Yeah. Well, as you mentioned in your opening, I've been on the job for 4 hours. So it's going to be
So
tough.
It's a little soon to do that?
Yes. Well, let me tell you this. I hope that when I leave, morale is high. We have the numbers we need to do the job, and that officer wellness is a main focus of ours. And officers are feeling good about the job. They're coming in, they're healthy, both physically and mentally.
When did you know you wanted to be a cop? Was there a moment in childhood, or did it come later?
Yeah. So interestingly enough, my brother was already on the job, my sister was on the job, my brother-in-law was on the job, and I just graduated from SU.
So you had no choice?
No. I tell people that. It's funny you say that. I tell people it was almost like a funnel. I got caught in this funnel, and I was like, all right, I'm going down into the funnel to become a cop.
Well, going down, now you've gone up. You've gone up to the very top. Chief, I appreciate your time. Yeah, sure. You're welcome back anytime, and I will be calling on you. Sometimes when things are good, and sometimes when things aren't so good. So
Understood.
I hope you'll answer.
Anytime.
Appreciate it. Joe Cecile, the new Syracuse Police Chief.
I don't care what crime our kids might have done. I'm always gonna be their mother. Always.
Good evening, I'm Connor White. For the first time, we got to hear from the 8-year-old boy involved in a now viral video showing police detaining him and taking him home in a squad car after he allegedly stole a bag of Doritos. You can see that cell phone video garnering millions of views nationwide on the left. To the right is police body camera footage of the same incident released Thursday. Syracuse's new chief of police, Chief Cecile, says there are moments in these videos that are hard to watch, but says what comes later when police speak to the boy's father is community policing 101. 911. It's not what we heard from the father when we spoke with him. He was upset with how officers handled his kid. The dad not at protest today in Syracuse calling for help for city kids, but his son, that 8-year-old, was there. Community members pointing out that regardless of police response, different systems have already and continue to fail this 8-year-old child. The 8-year-old in the video joined with other kids and a community activist, giving him and his peers a voice as community members demand action. Arlo Lagarde reports tonight.
2 rallies happened here at the Syracuse Police Department fighting for the 8-year-old boy in the viral video. People in the community now taking action and plan to help this kid along with others. Now, community members say that local leaders and school districts need to do their part. Dozens of people came to show their support of the 8-year-old boy in the viral video, who was in attendance at one of the rallies. Organizers asked the 8-year-old boy what he's learned from all of this.
He don't want to end up in jail.
Rally organizers say their goal is to help these kids, not to give up on them.
And instead of demonizing these kids, instead of traumatizing these kids, instead of embarrassing and humiliating these kids, we should uplift them and see what the real problem is.
Hassan Bloodworth was the organizer of the second protest. He says mental health, poverty, and affordable childcare are only some of the issues that preside in these communities. He says it's time for the school districts and local leaders to address these issues.
I think at this point, they failed these kids. They need to bounce back. They need to figure out how they need to bounce back.
TJ Davis with Black Lives Matter Syracuse says we need to change our focus on where our funding goes.
How are 1,000 students going to see one counselor? That's not viable, especially for the amount of support that these students need.
Bloodworth says these kids might not know they're crying for help, but they are. He says it takes a community to raise a child. So if the father is at work, he'll step up.
I felt like it was kind of my job and my duty to come as a community leader and step up and take on that role.
There is a Syracuse City School District Board meeting scheduled to be held on Monday to discuss the budget. When I spoke with rally organizers, they said that they will be there and ready to voice their concerns.